Welcome to NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast, episode number 52. I have on tonight a special guest. As always, I have Ray Garza from On Par Golf here in San Antonio, Texas. Now, I'm going to play a little video so you can hear a little bit about the services that Ray offers at On Par Golf.
The On Par Golf Academy at Mission Del Lago was designed and developed to offer not only the highest quality golf instruction in San Antonio, but so much more. With its experienced staff and its TrackMan indoor and outdoor training facility, On Par Golf has the capability to meet all your golf improvement needs. From its junior golf programming to its entertainment and hosting services, OPG has got you covered. So if you're ready to take your golf game to the next level, come see us at On Par Golf.
All right, I have on Ray Garza, owner, founder of On Par Golf. How you doing tonight, Ray?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Oh, man, I've been waiting to get you back on the show. Now, for those of you that don't know, I had Ray and AJ back on the show in June of 2019. So why don't we just get right into it? Tell us what has changed for you and for On Par Golf since the last time we spoke in June of 2019.
Yeah, for sure. A lot has changed. I know when we first had the chance to sit down, I think we had just moved into Mission Del Lago. So that was a great opportunity that opened up from our initial rollout of On Par Golf, which was at MixFit Gym, just to kind of find some space to kickstart this company. And when we sat down, I think we had a vision early on that we could somehow find a way to grow this great game of golf, and especially with the area that I wanted to initiate this at in the Southside of San Antonio. Growth-wise, I mean, just on the golf side alone, our staff has tripled or doubled for sure, almost tripled in size. We have now a Northside location at Cedar Creek. So, it's just doing the right things and putting the right people in place. It's driven us to a place I didn't think we would get to this fast. So I'm thrilled to death to have what we have to this point, and I'm looking forward to even a bigger and brighter future for On Par Golf.
Well, I think especially with the big amount of golfers that have been, the sport has been growing, especially with due to COVID. And let me know from a golf professional aspect, is it true that the golfers have grown? They said about 40 to 45%. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. If you were to sit down and look at some of the numbers, just in the number of rounds, I mean, it's completely true. I mean, couldn't be more obvious. There's just the COVID kind of kicked people into a mode of, what can I do to figure out, to stay active, to get outside, to stay socially distanced, to, do something other than sitting at home on their back porch, being outside, to interact a little bit with people. So that was a huge shot in the arm for golf across the world, not only just here in San Antonio. I think one of the things, especially where we're at, that was a thing that compounded it as well, was when the Republic closed, we had a flood of people that came down, and we were the local golf spot for them. Once the Republic closed, we're the only driving range south of Highway 90. So on the south central side of San Antonio, we're one of the only options.
And I think as long as since you've been out at Mission Del Lago, that space was empty. And so you're right. We were there just when you were finally moving everything in. I don't even think your simulator had been built or anything. And it was just pretty bare. It was really bare.
Yeah, I agree. I think when we first started in the gym, it was a net and a TrackMan and just hustling. And what happened was just that opened the door to Mission. And when we moved into Mission, all we really had was what we were able to move from one spot to the other. And my goal was just to get the doors open. When I saw the space, I saw the way it looks today. It just didn't happen from day one, but I didn't want to delay getting started. There would just been some dead time in a really crucial time in our business. So I just put that same net up, put the TrackMan up, created a functional space for the short term, and then quickly realized that if I really do this how I envision it, I mean, the sky's the limit. And it's been that. I think yourself included and everyone that walks in that shop, they just don't, they can't understand that that's in there. They never thought to even, go in that spot before, because it was completely wasted space. I think the only thing they stored in there in the front room where the simulator is was just some pull carts. Back in the day, probably 8 to 10 years ago, that was the pro shop side. So that was the counter, and just, I guess back then they sold equipment. So they had some clubs and some other things in there and some merchandise. But once they moved everything over to the other side, the restaurant side, that was just pretty much vacant. The lounge that we've created there used to be the office area for the management team. But once we took over the space, they just moved over to the other side of the building and allowed us to really recreate that space. In our back storage room, that's our donation hub. So that's where we're able to store all kinds of equipment that we give out for free. So, I mean, then again, too, that's a crucial piece, I think, in my overall vision of On-Par Golf, was finding a way to make golf accessible. And I think before we even had our first podcast, which wasn't even video back then, I think it was just recorded. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't dog me about having a golf net when you started just.
Hey, we've grown. We've come a long way since then.
Yeah. So I mean, just having those things that help anyone that's interested in playing golf not have to worry about, okay, well, I can't afford to, buy a beginner set even. It's just a way to get more involvement in golf, get more active, maybe find a passion. And I think the youth is what I've always extremely been passionate about. I think once I was in education, that time I spent in education, I started in the middle school level, and from day one, I knew I wanted to get somehow into a program or design a program to help golf get started. At the middle school level, there was no golf team at that middle school, which was Leal Middle School at Harmdale ISD. And I luckily had a good relationship with the athletic director, and basically just said, let's get this started. And from then on, all 4 middle school programs actually started and kickstarted. And then after my time in the middle school, I was able to transition over to the high school and continue. So I think that's been something that I've always truly enjoyed, is just giving golf back to the youth and giving them something that they deserve. I always look back at my childhood and growing up, and how I became involved in golf and playing with golf clubs that, what dad or uncle could find me and I'd play with. And I mean, Andy, I had nothing, to my name really growing up. It was just work ethic, commitment, knowing I wanted better for myself, that drove me to where we're at today. But back then, had it not been for those few individuals that introduced me to the game, we wouldn't be here talking. And I think those are the kinds of things that I'm trying to create a platform for the youth, for even those older in adulthood, that golf is an extremely important career piece. So much interaction, comes from just being involved in golf in all facets of your life. So I'm just trying to create that avenue, to give golf a larger reach and just pull more people into this great game.
Well, I totally think you're doing that, Ray. I know you've made it really fun for my daughter and her friend when they went to go visit you out during your camping clinic. And I'm just watching you, I'm watching your instructors, and Oh, they're my daughter and her friend Mia were they were driving me nuts, right? And I'm just like, man, y'all have such a gentle way with kids, and how you approach them, how you instruct them, and how you keep it fun. Because I think that's the most important thing, especially for our youth, is that that it's not boring. It's not, even though there is a lot of repetition, that it's just not, it's something that they can stay engaged with, because it's hot out there. It gets hot out there.
Yeah.
And especially when you're working for like an hour and change, and they can just get a little bit, that sun can just wear them down. And I think you and your instructors had a really good way of keeping them engaged.
I think a lot of that, just like you being in education, it comes down to your process and the hook that you have to create as an educator. I look at myself more as an educator, more of a coach before I'm an instructor. I think it's so important to build those relationships and the trust and the belief in, they're there for the right reasons, and we're all making progress every time we visit and come together. And it just makes them want to come back, makes them more passionate about the game. So I've never felt like harping too much on a lot of the technical stuff, especially in that setting. It's more about just enjoying the moment, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying golf. I think a lot of the spinoff for those that after that point really want to take it serious, that's when the platform for looking into private instruction, looking into something more one-on-one. That's what the camps, the clinics, I think our focus is at On Par Golf is about creating that great environment that they can't wait to come back the next day to a camp, or they can't wait to come back the next Saturday for our Saturday clinics. Those are the kinds of things that hook them. And once they're hooked, we don't have to struggle with trying to entertain them. They're there. They understand, why they're there, and they enjoy being there. And we're all trying to just go towards the same goal, and that's be better people, better golfers. And I think a key thing that I've learned from golf the most is just the social interaction. I think just being able to network, being able to learn how to interact with other kids at the kids level, or have those, rounds of golf and introducing yourself to someone new. Those are the kinds of things I think that are not taught as much in the classroom. So I've always got that educator hat on when I'm doing our clinics. I'm working with our junior golfers, because I think that's such an important piece outside of just the golf itself.
I totally agree, especially being a coach and a teacher. I'm always looking at how people are able to be so successful. And so one thing that I've learned over the years is seeing how you interact with people. And I think a lot of it may have to do not only is your teaching style, but like you stated, is how you carry yourself out on the course. Because I know one of a mutual friend of ours, Jeremiah Sierra, he played with you in one of the On Par Golf Skins games. And he said you didn't have your best stuff that day. And he said that, man, if I were Ray, I'd be so ticked off. I'd be so pissed off. And he said, he kind of blew things off, he was just going about his business. And you can tell, Jeremiah said, is like, I saw the shots. I saw he's got it. He's got the draw. He's got the fade. He's got the game. He just wasn't scoring well. And that you took everything kind of like with a grain of salt and with a smile on your face.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. The status of my golf game right now is I took it so serious playing full time for that short time. I think it's a short time. I played for about 2.5, 3 years on some of the mini tour stuff, went to Q school. After that, I really had, a come to Jesus kind of moment. Like, is this really what I want to do? Because I really wasn't having fun. I enjoy golf. I enjoy being around golf, but I think you have to have a completely different mindset, a lifestyle that I really didn't think I would be happy with. And I kind of came to a point where I actually stopped playing golf for a couple of years after after the 2010 Q school and just took a break. That's when I got into education. And I came back so refreshed from just, getting away from the competitive golf. So now when I go and play golf, it's so much more recreational. It's more of a pastime, and I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy getting to be around people and meeting new people. So I think the game is there, no doubt. I can play with just about anybody. That's not an issue. I think I'm just not as sharp as I need to be, especially short game area parts of my game. I guess I would say my strength is probably my length and my ball striking. But when it all comes together, I mean, I'm capable of shooting low 60s. On a bad day, I'm probably a couple over par. So it's never, I can still golf my ball, but I think a lot of times the expectation from myself and from others that, a Ray shot, 76 today, what's wrong? I think that's a positive. I look at that as like, man, well, I have a lot of respect in the golf game to know that, I'm expected to play well, and I expect myself to play well, but I really don't put in the time. I play once a week, and I typically still shoot under par playing once a week. But if I really, really, really wanted it, I think I'm more than capable from every part, from the mental piece to the physical piece to the golf experience to play next level golf. But the heart isn't enough in there to want to live on the road and want to do that piece of it. I enjoy my family. I enjoy seeing my kids every day and spending time with my wife and running my business. And just golf is just a part of it now. It's not my entire focus. I think that was more of a blessing in disguise, kind of having that kind of moment where, I was at, a fork in the road. Do I keep going or do I, take a different path? And I 100% agree with myself that I made the right decision, because we wouldn't have done what we're doing now and have the opportunity to create this platform. So I'm just blessed and I'm glad that I'm able to create this for golf of the entire city and area of San Antonio, that we've created a haven for great instructors, for people that have the right things prioritized right, to make sure that everybody that walks in our door is respected, they're treated right, and they see value every time they walk into our doors or work with our instructors.
I totally feel that you've created a different air, I feel, at Mission del Lago. And it's nice because not only have you really capitalized in the golf game and instruction game out there, why don't you tell us a little bit about another venture you have that you and someone else, I'm not too sure his name, have helped kind of bring back that empty space that was there where the grill is at now. If I'm not mistaken, it's a Rockin' G Grill. Yeah,
so the Rockin' G Grill, that's just another iron in the fire. That again, just when I see things, I have this knack of seeing things happening 4 or 5 steps ahead, and sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse, to be honest with you. But when I first moved into the space, I knew there was so much opportunity there. It was just a blank slate, and it's a diamond in the rough, really. I think of it, if you want to relate it to like the Pearl. The Pearl, it was just an afterthought. No one ever thought of, what, that's just some wasted space. They should knock that down. And now it's converted into what it is today. That was the vision of someone seeing how we can convert that into a functional, profitable space. And I'm looking at Mission del Lago in the same fashion. And this is a great opportunity. If I don't do it, eventually someone else is going to do it. And Alex Garcia, my partner with Rockin' G Grill, had a restaurant that he opened up in Somerset not too long before COVID hit. And it is what it is, especially with the nature of the food industry. He had to pivot, and I helped him pivot with an idea that I had with the grill. And the grill was I guess initially the thought, but there was a lot of investment we'd have to make. So we actually used the food truck that he had, an open air food truck, which was our first unit. Then we actually bought a second unit, which is our red trailer that's fully enclosed, brand new trailer that we started rotating through the trail. And I look at that as it was more of a marketing campaign, really. It just allowed all the golfers, all the people that would come in and out through the golf course to see what we were doing, and starting with just having food, because that was a thing that even as me as a player, I'd go play the trail, and I'd grab a snack. That's all they had, some peanuts or crackers or a Snickers and a Gatorade. I mean, that was my option. So we approached the trail and said, "What do you think about this idea?" And they were all for it. And in the end, long story short, led to our brick and mortar facility now that we have at the grill, which in the initial conversation, that was the end game for at least the Mission location. But you never know until you ask. So all we did was saw an opportunity. We had a plan in place, and we made it happen. And I think so many people shy away from, they're just going to say no, or they'll never let me do that. But I think it was two reasons. One was what I brought to the table and what the pressure I could take off of the trail with them not really having to do any of the heavy lifting. And it just made sense. So we just put two and two together, and the timing kind of worked out right. And we said, let's just go ahead and start the grill. And from then on, it's been great. I mean, the community's just so thankful. If you think about Mission del Lago, it's in a food desert. So there's no HEBs. There's no food other than Jalisco's and taco houses or fast food. So we've opened up an opportunity for people to eat healthier. We fry no food there, Andy. So everything is homemade and cooked. We don't fry fries. We don't fry anything. We try and give a little better option for
better.
So I was trying to think of it as, what can we bring to the table that's going to make us stand out, make us different? I mean, the brisket's off the hook. It's great.
My gosh. It's the brisket's amazing. I was going to say, yeah, but you smoke a lot of stuff there. I was like, I see those briskets and I'm like, you know what? When I'm making the turn, will those guys miss one of those briskets by chance? Will they miss one of those?
Yeah. Alex does a phenomenal job. He was a competitive cooker. Like, he would do those weekend gigs and, put out briskets and ribs and chickens and do all that stuff. But he's got a great method to what he does with his pulled pork and his brisket. Our burgers, people are raving about them. We've really just tried to hand pick things that you'd expect to see at a grill with maybe a little twist. And we're trying to change the whole mindset of, why am I going to go to the golf course to eat again? But then they eat there and they keep coming back. The neighborhoods, the school districts, we're just pushing it with everybody, and they're starting to come in, they're talking to their friends. And it's the same concept with Umpire Golf. Was we do it right and we take our time, the word of mouth is priceless. And that's the same model we're using with the grill, is just do it right, take our time, don't push any harder than we need to, think outside the box. We've got some cool events that we're going to be announcing soon that we'll be having at the grill. We're trying to do live music at least once a month down there. Just giving the area what it deserves. Just because it's on the south side doesn't mean you couldn't have functions like these and bring the family and enjoy yourself. So we're just trying to make the best of the space that we've been given. And the golfers, the community, our team, they couldn't be more excited for the direction we're going. So
I truly agree with you. It's you've taken advantage of the opportunities that have been given to you, and the food is really good. I had the brisket sandwich when I was there. It kind of eased my round since I didn't play too hot. I was there for the Alamo City Golf Trail Tour Series, and I have an event this Sunday. I don't know how it's going to look with the weather. I'm tracking the weather crazy right now, and I'm hitting up all my buddies that are also playing, and they said it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good, and you're right. I mean, being 41 years old, especially making the turn, I need that energy. I need that kick. I need something. I'm sneaking snacks into my bag, and you're right. Like sometimes that PB&J sandwich, that pre-made sandwich, that just don't do it. That don't do it.
I love a good taco. The fajitas are amazing too. I don't know if you tried the fajitas, but that's my go-to when I'm making the turn. It is either the race taco, which is a beef and chicken fajita taco with cheese and guac, or just a simple beef fajita. That's my little go-to snack. I should probably eat something more healthy than that.
All right, great.
I'm 41 too, so I gotta watch myself.
Well, hey, man, right? I always say is like, I got a young wife, even though she's not too much younger, but I got a young wife. I just got to try to keep her. That's it. That's what I really say. Yeah. So let's get into your staff here. You've created a really, really strong staff just from the golfers that I know. I've actually had, besides having AJ on the show back in 2019, back in June, I've also had Arnie Martinez on, and I've also had Christy Cano on the show as well. I'm going to prop up a little picture of your staff, and if you could just kind of go around saying, just telling us a little bit about each of the members of your staff.
Yeah, for sure. Let's
see right here. There we go. All right.
So we'll just start up at the top with AJ. So AJ has been so valuable to Umpire Golf from the beginning. I think our story there, the first time I put this out on Facebook that I was leaving education and starting my own business teaching golf, AJ reached out to me and he said, I just something hit me like a ton of bricks that I needed to reach out to you and see what's going on with what you're envisioning. And he couldn't be more excited for where we're going and what we're doing. And he knew that he wanted to be a part of this early on. And his leadership on the instructional side and what he brings is off the chart. So AJ is a PGA Tour caddy, over a decade of experience on the tour. He has 4 wins, one including the PGA Championship major with Wai Yang. He was with Streelman for about almost 6-7 years, and he was KJ Choi for a season. Now he's with Justin Shaw. But I think the biggest thing is just the moments that he's in, the mental piece, the hands-on. He gets a front row seat to watch the best players in the world week in and week out. That's something you can't find just anywhere. So I always enjoy spending time with AJ, and he brings a tremendous amount to our staff and our team. So it was a no-brainer when he reached out, and I thought, what a great opportunity to have someone like this on our staff. So without a doubt, he's been huge for us, and a great guy to just hang out with in general. He's just good people, and that's, I think, we'll talk more about everybody else, but I think that's my biggest thing is my circle is very tough to get into. I don't just bring in any one random person. There's got to be a lot of things that boxes are checked off with that make us stronger. And I think I've told you, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and I don't think there's a weak link in our chain. So that's been my vision from a management ownership standpoint of where we wanted to be and how we wanted to build this team. Next, who's that? Is that
Jesse?
Jesse and I go back, way back. Jesse, he's an educator as well. He teaches middle school, and he's been in the golf business all his life. I first met Jesse at Mission Del Lago when I was probably 15 or 16 years old. He was working the counter there before he got into education. And we've been just friends. And then once I started this, I wanted to find some people that I knew without a doubt I could count on and would be an absolutely perfect fit for what we needed. And that was Jesse. Jesse's my right-hand man when I need things done, or I need backup, or I need help, or I have questions about things. He has such an amazing knack. I think me and him think along those same lines a lot, being educators and teaching kids for a living, and understanding what that takes, and how you almost trick people into learning without even forcing it. He's got a great knack at that, and he thinks out of the box too when he's doing his instruction. I love to watch him teach, because he has such a unique method that's so functional, and it gets the points across so well. And I think that's like an educator, like as in the classroom, you're trying to think, how am I going to get this across from out of my head into your head to teach you? And he does that so flawlessly, and without even trying, it happens. So I think that's one of the great things that Jesse brings, and just his experience in the golf business. From he worked the counters in summer times when he wasn't teaching. Always been around golf, and I think was in one of the PGA programs, but didn't get through all the way through with it. That's probably still one of his goals, but I mean, just absolute stud on our staff. Mark, I think, is next. Yeah.
Yes,
So Mark, I've known Mark a good while, mainly just through Ben when his shop was there at the First Tee. And when I really got to know Mark really well was when we worked in conjunction with the First Tee of San Antonio to implement a pilot program with Harlandale ISD with one of the elementary schools. And we worked with the First Tee program, and Mark was the director at that point. And we were teaching 4th and 5th graders snag golf, which is golf with oversized plastic golf clubs, in their gym. So we would see about 60 kids in each grade level at the same time. So in one gym with 60 kids swinging golf clubs, you imagine that as an educator, how you're doing that. So we pulled that off. People thought there's no way you can keep that safe. You can keep that organized. You can make progress. But I mean, if there's something I'm going to do, I'm going to find a way to be successful at it. And that was a great opportunity to kind of get to know Mark. Unfortunately, that program didn't turn into much. It's just a logistical nightmare, like trying to do that and multiply it throughout the school district. So it was a great learning experience. It got us involved with the First Tee a little bit, but it just kind of fizzled out, didn't go anywhere. But Mark was at a point in his career too, he was looking to scale back, and he knew what we were up to and what we were about, and approached me about seeing how he can be involved. And I mean, it's a no-brainer. He was directing the First Tee for 15 years. He absolutely knows what he's doing. So have a guy like that in your back pocket to oversee your junior golf program. I mean, there's never a doubt when I'm not there that the right work is getting done. So I mean, great asset to our team.
Now we've had, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah.
we had Arnie and Christy on the show. So I know so some of the viewers and some of the listeners should already have known about them. Is that Arnie Martinez? He is currently the head men and women's coach at the University of Our Lady of the Lake here in San Antonio. And then you have Christy, who's a former LPGA player and currently the head men's coach for Texas A&M San Antonio. So you got two big gems there. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about Billy? I only know him from seeing him out on the course. Why don't you give everybody just a little info on one of the last members of your team?
Okay, so Billy, I've known him since high school. Great stick. He's a good player, and he's just a good guy and knows what he's doing. And he was working at Briggs Ranch, and he transitioned over to Alsatian recently. So now he's on staff over there helping out, but he's not there every day all the time. So he's got time on our staff to help and do his part. But he also sings too. I don't know if you've had a chance to see him sing, but he's just a good guy that I wanted to have be a part of what we're doing and help him become a better person, become a better instructor. And he's really great with the kids. He would help out with our Saturday camps, our Saturday clinics, and over at Cedar Creek, that whole group has hit the ground running. We've been profitable since day one there. The community is just getting turned on to what we're doing down there. Our summer camps are already full. Our first one is at max already. Our second one's almost full. Our third one over there is about halfway full. And I haven't even pushed it other than the trails pushing what they put out on the newsletter. So that's a little bit different market, just because of location and just income differences between those two areas. It's just been a great opportunity to have that group come on board. And you talk about, you're bringing on people. If you look at it from a management standpoint, you're bringing on people. You want someone that you can trust from day one, that can get the job done without a whole lot of hands-on from the management or the ownership team. That crew just is amazing. Like, it takes so much stress off of me, and I don't have to worry a bit about the quality that we're giving to every client that sees us, whether they're at our Cedar Creek location or our Mission Del Lago locations. Billy, Christy, and Arnie, I can't say enough about them. I mean, the character of those people are a big piece of why they're in this circle and on this great team.
I really feel that you've created like an all-star cast, because I have seen Jesse. I've met him and I've talked with him, and there's an ease about him, and it's free flowing. And again, he's worked with my child, and so I'm like, somebody has to have a lot of patience, especially to work with my child, to work with Bella. And and being around Billy, seeing, he is a great stick. He can ball, he can hit the rock. And then Arnie too. I told Arnie this, is that I said I looked at him as a younger version of Ray Garza, because he seems like he's got that same type of feel, same type of vibe. And a lot of times people with my show is like, yeah, you're too fan-struck, you're too awe of these people. I said, no, I'm not too awe. I said, because as a coach, a teacher, a father, and a golfer, I said, I am in awe of y'all because of how you do things, not only as you play, but like you stated about golf. Golf is just how you can really learn a lot about yourself and learn about the people that are in your group, because it's such a great time right now to really catch up. And my wife actually asked me the other day, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And I said, I'm going to tell you. And she goes, look, I know you want to play golf. And I said, yes, but I want to be on the course with you, with Bella and Chrissy, my two daughters. And I said, I want to make the day all about us and being together on the course, and then eating at the course and just enjoying ourselves. And my wife was just like, she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that's what I wanted to do. And I said, well, it's just the best way to catch up and just to kind of let your guard down. And I think that's what we're able to do with being out there right now, especially at this time. And it's so packed out on the courses, though. That's one thing I've really noticed, that it's so packed. And that's why I'm really trying to help others. And that's why I know you would be such a great voice and such a great influence as to helping our golfers, not only in the South, but now on the North Side. And that's why I'm excited. I'm excited because, hey, you're just down the street from me. And I said, thank God, because that had been my biggest issue with making it out there to you, is because, as a teacher and a coach, what are we doing? We're working. And then if you're not a good coach, if you're not putting in the hours, then you're probably not a good coach. And so, I try my best to give my kids the best opportunity. And we had 10 golfers this year on our middle school golf team there at Blessed Sacrament. And it was crazy. It's just, we had a lot of kids and they love this stuff. And I'm over here like, I said, these kids are shanking shots left and right, but they love it and they're excited. And I said, I ain't going to break their vibe. I'm not going to break their spirits. Yeah. It's a great time right now.
Yeah. Golf's in a good place. I think, fingers crossed, COVID situation looks like it's starting to make some headway in the right direction finally. I think it's just going to continue to grow. You talk about, how packed it is. I remember the days where, Mission del Lago, the parking lot was almost empty, even on a weekend. And now you go on a weekend and you're parking on this curb, down the street because it's so busy. And now you've got a lot more turn-ons with the grills there, on par golf is there, the golf course is getting better. All that we're bringing events, we're bringing tournaments, the whole dynamic is changing down there. And I think the big thing is we're just trying to change the mindset of people. Back in the day, it's like, I'm not driving all the way to Mission del Lago. It's going to be in terrible shape. I just know it's too far. It's out of the way. And that's probably the biggest issue we fight is it's so far. It's so far. But yet everyone will play Riverside, and Riverside is 8 minutes from Mission del Lago. But it's just a mentality that we're trying to break. But I think if we keep doing what we're doing, and over the course of a year from now, I think we're going to turn a lot of heads and change a lot of minds.
Well, I really think you've been doing that. I mean, I think you've really challenged Mission to really step up their game as well. And it seems like as the years have gone on since that first time we spoke, since you first moved into your facility, it seems like you and the Alamo City Golf Trail have really both stepped y'all's game up. And I think that's one thing that I'm excited as somebody who really loves golf and who really tries to push and promote it, is that the trail stepped their game up by adding you on. And it seems like they've helped you out more and you've helped out them, that y'all are really going back and forth with helping each other out.
Yeah, I think, the opportunity that Andrew Peterson has given us with the trail and the mentality of, what, if we work better together than trying to do it solo, and it's going to help golf for the trail, it's going to help golf for our business. It's a partnership, and Andrew's always called it a partnership. It's never been about that's some organization that has some space there at Mission del Lago. It's always been about, how can we help you? How can I help you? It's always worked that way. You look at their whole team from, Jesse in that management position, Kevin, Ruben's been a blessing with the marketing piece. Without that, I mean, we wouldn't gotten near as much traction as we have. That has such a great reach, and I'm just blessed that this door opened. I think what I brought was something that's hard to create. It's not. I'm born of the community. I was born and raised in it. I've been in the trenches. So I think a lot of it is I think of it as there's a respect for what I've done, and people want to gravitate towards that. And I don't say that to gloat, because that's the last thing I've ever done, and that's the last thing I'm ever trying to do. Is I'm as humble as you'll find. But I think a lot of it is anyone that's around me is going to realize if I say I'm going to do something, it's going to get done. And I think there's so many people that say things, but it never gets done. And it's just talk to me. And I think that's such a lost thing with a lot of people is, yeah, it's easy to say it, but it's a lot harder to do it. And I respect the people that say it and do it a lot more than the people that want to, just say they can do certain things or brag about this or that. I think the proof's in the pudding kind of is my philosophy. Like, put up or shut up, and I think I've done that. And that's been a goal of mine. It's always been about doing what I've said I was going to do. And my team knows that if I say I'm going to do something, it's done. And there's no doubt, for me to expect that from them. And I think that's what makes us stronger than any other team around. But again, I'm as humble as a guy as you're going to find. And you talk to anybody too, I'm hoping they say the same thing, because I try to stay grounded, because every day is a blessing. I try and take nothing for granted. And I think that shows in a lot of what I do and what I've done to this point.
I think that's what's scary though about you. I'm gonna tell you that though. That's what's scary about you is that you have a lot in here, and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with, and me. Like I have so many ideas, and I think a lot of times my problem is that I say them, and I said, you know what? You're the guy that thinks them. You get the wheels moving and you put it in motion, and then boom, here it is. And that's what I try to be more like, because I think sometimes when you have something that you kind of voice, and that you have something positive going on, or that you want to get, you kind of put some negative things out there, or some people to have negative thoughts, or say negative things and negative vibes towards, your goal or your idea. And it seems like the things that you're doing right now, especially out at Mission Del Lago and on the south side, and now coming to the north side, I think you're really good at, and like I said, scary, because when you want to do something, you get the job done, and you find a way to get it done. And it seems like the trail and y'all have really worked hand in hand to help each other, and y'all are building something great. Now, what are some of the services that you offer at Mission that you are now offering at Cedar Creek?
So Cedar Creek, initially we were thinking about creating the same style setup that we have at Mission Del Lago, with an indoor studio with full range service. But we didn't want to invest too much from, having to completely renovate a whole space to create that. There's some room for it, but we had to push out a wall, raise a ceiling, and the timing just wasn't right for that. So at Cedar Creek, we have a second TrackMan, so we have TrackMan service there, but we're only range only at Cedar Creek. So we have full size range, short game area down on the bottom half, and we have the practice green, putting green up on top. The biggest challenge we're finding, and we're going to really find it out too with our camps, is we just can't accommodate as many kids as we'd like, because there's just not as much space. When you compare the footprint of the practice area at Mission Del Lago versus the footprint at Cedar Creek for a practice area, at night and day. So we're gonna try and balance it out so that we can make sure everyone has a great experience whatever location they go to. But those are some of the things we're coming across. But back to your point, it's full range service, TrackMan, indoor outdoor TrackMan 4 there at Cedar Creek. Mission Del Lago has a beautiful indoor studio. We have a lounge, which is a nice hangout spot, meeting space for our guests and our staff. And then right out our door, we have full range and a huge short game area, and a really large, nice putting green there that we utilize quite often as well.
Now, in using the TrackMan, I think that's the biggest rage right now, with everybody wanting to gain more distance. And especially as a coach, I always tell the kids, the little eye in the sky never lies. And that's one thing. When you put me on that TrackMan, I hated it. I hated seeing myself. And you made a really good point, because I've spoken to numerous instructors, and I feel like everyone has taught me something. Every one of the instructors has taught me something. And I am not in the business to say that one is better than the other. It's just that I think it's how you communicate. Several people, some people are super technical. Some people want it broken down to dumb things down like me. I'm not a smart guy. And so I need it to be like at an ant's level. And then other people, they want, they want the technology. They want to see it on the screen. And a lot of people are visual learners. And I think that's one thing that the TrackMan, that's the top of the line technology that you have. And you told me something that really stood out to me. You said, do you want your swing to be there sometimes, even when you're not shooting well? Or do you want your swing to be there, or you want your swing to be there all the times, even when it's not shooting well? Or do you want it just to be there sometime? And I said, I want my swing to always be there. And you said, well, that's some of the things, and some of the tips and some of the things you pointed out to me that I needed to work on. And I said that made sense, because I'm sure and any golfer knows that there's some days that you can hit. You can go like 18 for 18 greens in regulation, and you could be +2. And the guy right next to you, he could go 14 out of 18, and they're -2. And it's just, I really, that's something that I've taken with me since that day we were on the TrackMan, is that I want my swing to always be there for me, even when I don't have my best stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I consider I kind of relate it to, like, in the medical field, like bedside manners, like the way you want to be treated and the way you want to be explained this information to, this important information to, like from your doctor. I kind of think of that too in the same fashion, the way I deliver my explanations or the educational piece of what we're trying to learn or the technical piece of what we're trying to learn. I can absolutely guarantee you I dumb it down as much as I can. And I'll tell you, every client really appreciates that. There's no arrogance about the way I teach or the way our staff teaches. We're as real people as you'll find. And I think people appreciate that. And I think it sinks in a lot more that, they're enjoying the person they're talking to first. And that person that's talking to them knows what they're talking about. They're explaining what they're talking about, and they're educating me on what we're talking about and how that impacts success for them. So I think so many times, you get clients that come in and they're so, I don't need a lesson. I'm just here because this, that, or the other. And they walk away and they're asking for a multi-session package. Like you just build that rapport with them. And I think just having someone you trust to guide you and show you, what's going on is so crucial for a lot of golfers. And I think one of the biggest things I even tell my clients is I'm trying to educate you. Me and AJ talk about this all the time, is we're trying to teach you to fish. We don't want to catch the fish for you. We want to show you when you leave here, if you start seeing this issue again, I've taught you what's going on and what causes that. So you don't necessarily need to run back to me to fix it. If I gave you something of value that you walked away with, it's on you if you forgot or didn't note it down or didn't go back and look at my screencast I sent you from my TrackMan or the report I sent for the TrackMan and identify, okay, it was a path issue, or maybe I was, releasing too soon. Whatever that issue was that maybe we were talking about. And I think our clients appreciate that so much. And exactly what you said, hits the nail on the head, that we're trying to make sure that we, number one, address your issue. I think so many times you go to an instructor and it's kind of like, you're in this cookie cutter, everybody needs to swing the same. No one's built the same. No one's the same size. No one's the same flexibility. There's so many variables that make us all different. It's our fingerprint, right? I think AJ and our whole team and Jesse, we've always talked about fundamentals and building strong fundamentals, because that's the only thing that holds water. We need to be able to have certain aspects of the swing that from setup and processes that are universal. But you're going to have your fingerprint to your swing. We're never going to try and take that away. We're going to take what we feel like you do well and what we want to hold on to, and then cut away the fat of that and figure out how to be nice and lean and strengthen what we're trying to do with the golf improvement piece of it.
Now, that's one thing I've really heard from instructors like yourself, somebody who's a good instructor, and how to relay that information, is that if they have to make you like a lifelong client, then they're not doing, or y'all are not doing your job. Because if we're just there to take money, that's not the purpose. Then the golfer is not getting any better. And so from what I hear from guys like you, from Trevor, from Robert Vasquez, and from Christy, and from Arnie, is that they want to be able to give the golfer the tools to fix themselves and to be able to correct themselves. And that's something I always teach kids. It's like, look, hey, we want you to be able to peer teach, your teammate or yourself. It's like, how come I got beat here? It's like, because, I took a step back instead of a step forward, and things like that. And so as we get into our Q&A session right here, as we kind of wind down this time, what's one of the best stories that you've had on the teaching side in golf?
Ooh, best stories?
Like a teaching story. Do you have like a success story or somebody that you're really proud of, or something that, has been a staple of, hey, this is what we can do for others? And
I would say one of my most I guess the client I see the most, I don't want to say her name, I can, but she's a female junior golfer in high school, but she has good technical pieces to her swing, but she had a lot of attitude issues, and not like towards me, just in herself. Like she would beat up herself playing golf, and I probably spent the majority of our time together just breaking that mentality out of her head that it's not the end of the world. It's just a game. We're going to make progress, but I can't make progress with you till you get out of your own way. And I think that those are the kinds of things that are so rewarding because, again, I consider myself a coach, a mentor before I'm an instructor. And I'm not doing my client justice if I'm teaching them something, but they're still going to blow up anyway when they go out and play golf because they're going to get in their own way. And with her, I've taken such a commitment to her to get her mind right. And you look at PGA Tour players, and they're going to have a mental coach, or then they'll have their physical coach, and then they'll have other parts of their team. I think one of the things I try to strive to do is kind of be all that in one package for all our clients, because I think we talk shop a lot more than we sometimes get to business, because it's so important to talk about the mental approach to golf. Is just so underrated, and everybody saw it's the swing, but a lot of times you just get in your own way. I think, long story short, that's a great example with her. Like we had a breakthrough session the other day, and we could finally really understand. I had a bad swing, but that bad swing is not going to affect my next swing kind of thought process. And I think that's a great example where I felt rewarded as an instructor that, you know what, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right things. That was a great example.
As a coach and a teacher, you need those moments, man. You need those moments to keep you going, to keep you in that positive mindset to where, hey, I'm doing the right things. I do know what I'm doing. So I got some questions right here from some of our viewers.
Okay.
And I think I got Jim Martinez right here. Are there group classes offered now? I know you have group classes for your juniors, but do you do something as well for your adults?
Yes. So at our Mission Del Lago location, Jesse, before the time changed and we lost light when it got dark early, we had an adult clinic that we would get anywhere from 3 to 8 adults in the evening. I think we did it on a Thursday evening. And what we want to do is kick that back up. I think we're waiting for summer to get here, and Jesse's out of school and have a little more time. We'll probably start that at Mission. And I guarantee you, Christy Cano, Arnie Martinez, Billy Castro are going to start an adult program, clinic style, one weekday evening at Cedar Creek coming soon.
Because one of the things as being part of these Facebook groups like San Antonio golfers or friends that golf with in San Antonio, you constantly hear a lot of people like taking jabs at the new golfer, the new golfer, the wet behind the ear golfers, right? And it's just like you have so many of these, especially it's really the older golfers or the old school golfers where they get pissed off, when somebody wants to hit another one off the tee box and things like that. And the rounds are so long. Like I think I played I'd say about a couple of months ago, I played a 5.5 hour round at Cedar Creek. And I'm an old guy, I'm not as young as I used to be. And I said, man, like everyone's like, hey, do you want another beer? No, I don't even want a beer. I just want to go. Like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And I think those adult classes would be something great in that a lot of people now, like, honestly, they want to be instructed. Like I've been at the ranges and I've seen people look around like for help, like somebody please help me.
Yeah. I 100% agree. You can see them sometimes, the people that don't even know how to put the token in the ball range dispenser. Those are the ones, that's like the guy with the club cover on his irons, right?
Those are no-nos. Those are
some big cues right there. But I 100% agree. And Jesse said this was such a breakthrough. We had people that had never touched a golf club, and they were like, this is so perfect. I can come and I can ask the dumbest questions in the world, and everyone's thinking the same thing. and and two, it brings more people into golf, and that's what it's about. And it was super, affordable. It wasn't near the cost of a full-blown session, stuff like that. So it was just a great way, again, to get their feet wet, and they would come week after week. So the Golf 101 stuff, for sure, we hit that up, hard when we have those adult clinics, and we're gonna kick them back up. We don't have a date yet, but we're gonna have a few dates set really soon. So keep an eye out for that.
All right, here we go. I got David right here. Is on par a good place to get irons gapped, or is that offered? I feel like a simulator session would be a great option for getting yardages dialed in.
Yeah, Dave, I 100% agree. That's right up our alley. That's something we do quite often. We have a couple of our college teams that come in and we'll do gapping sessions with the collegiate golfers. We get a lot of our stronger golfers that, hit the ball consistent enough to really get the benefit of a gapping session. Well, what we do at Mission, we have an indoor-outdoor TrackMan at both locations, but so what that gives us is a lot of versatility. So you can do the gapping session in the simulator, but we can take that right out to the driving range and do the same thing. I think if it's a nice day, there's not a lot of wind, I would definitely do a gapping session out on the range. The difference between what's going on with the TrackMan is the indoor is actually tracing info from the ball itself spinning, and because it doesn't have time to travel. When you're outdoor in the outdoor setting, it's actually watching it like a Doppler radar. So it's actually watching the ball fly through the air and land in where it's rolling to. So it's not very much, it's not even different at all in the distances, but some people just are more comfortable outside because that's where you naturally play golf. But both are just as accurate, and it's more of a preference. What do you prefer to hit off the mat or go outside? But either way is great. Gapping sessions, 100%. That's stuff you need to know. I think even more importantly is, especially those higher end players, is the wedge game. Like knowing, how far I hit each of those wedges is so important. Any of those scoring irons. But again, generally, just knowing everything. I could tell you to the half yard almost every club in my bag. So no doubt you need to do that if you're an avid golfer that hits the ball consistent enough. I think so many people, especially our junior golfers that just aren't there yet, I want to do a gapping session. Well, you got to hit it the same way every time. Otherwise, if we hit, 8 shots with that one club and I get a different yardage every time, well, that's not giving us the feedback we need.
I agree with you on needing knowing your yardages, because I think they showed one time, I saw a picture of Brooks Koepka, his sheet about what each club goes, and he's got like a 272, a 136, and he's got it like 145, 143, and then it says like for a certain club, hard this, it goes up, or 3/4 this, and it dials it down. And so I got David again right here. That's awesome. My Mizunos want me to play them better.
It's the Indian. It's not always the arrows.
Dave's a good guy. He can play. He can go at it. He can really go at it. He's a good dude. He's a solid player. And going on to some of our questions right here, I got these people are constantly telling me, hey, you need to ask him this. You need to ask him this. So what is your preferred ball as you are playing out there on the course?
Okay, that's a really good question, because I actually changed balls not that long ago. So I was a Titleist guy through and through with everything early in my career. And I got a Ping G30. I think is a G30, the blue G with the 30 on it, if I remember right. I don't even remember, but I got that Ping driver, and I never hit a driver like that before. And since that day forward, I all my clubs are Ping other than my putter. And I was a Titleist ball, Pro V1X. I played a Pro V1X, and this is when it first came out. So the whole ball fitting and hitting on the TrackMan, or understanding how it differs on the spin rates and all that. you didn't do it. You just played by feel. Like that ball felt good. I hit that ball well. Now having, the opportunity I do with the TrackMan, I think it's pairing that golf ball with the right equipment is just as important. So AJ was talking to me about Justin, which he caddies for on the tour, and he's like, he plays the X. I mean, he plays just the regular Pro V, the black one, and I played the red one. He's like, well, that's the one that is spinnier. And he's like, he was noticing my ball flight one time when we were playing, and I said, yeah, well, I'll try it out. So I just went out and played with the regular Pro V, the black number versus the red, and it was night and day. I was hitting about 2 to 3 yards further, and my trajectory was so much flatter, and I wouldn't lose it, especially into the wind. And then I took it to TrackMan, and I compared apples to apples, and I was like, why wasn't I smart enough to do this in place?
Ray, you're an instructor, man. Why didn't you do this?
But like I said, I don't go into my game too much. I don't. I go and play golf and be like, man, you're amazing. That was an awesome round of golf. I'm like, imagine if I practiced. I just go out there and play and enjoy it, and like those little things. If I was playing competitive golf, that would have been done, but like it's never been on my radar until like AJ brought it up. He noticed that, and, we're friends, and as well as kind of coworkers things. So we're always talking shop, and he was watching me play golf, and he's like, man, you should look into this ball. And he talking about what he sees on tour. It's like, man, that makes sense. Let me try it. The only other ball I experimented with was the TP5, and I played it for maybe a few months, but I went back to the Pro V. But honestly, it was probably 3-4 months ago that I switched to the black, the Pro V1, not the Pro V1X.
All right. So you answered my next question, which I was going to ask what club, what brand of club you prefer. And so you answered Ping. Now, as we get into clubs, things of that nature, you and I both know Ben. Now he's at San Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben is somebody, I say he's the unicorn because he's a mythical creature that I eventually want to get on this show that, Ben, he doesn't like to do a lot of like face stuff. He just does it. And so tell me, do you have a best or a Ben story?
Oh, I've got a bunch of stories, but they're probably not good for this show.
Hey, man, they are. Nothing is OB. Nothing is. I constantly have to remind people that OB means out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
So give me one. Just give me one, Ray, about Ben.
I'm trying to think. He's got some stories. I think one of the coolest things when you walk in the shop, and I don't know if this has been mentioned in your story, but he used to have this little grenade that was right by the counter, and that was for the comment or suggestion box.
The complaint department.
Yeah, that was the complaint department. And then he'd always play a trick. He'd put a little plastic turd on the toilet seat or around the toilet. That's just, Ben being Ben and just cutting up in the shop, just, the shenanigans of being in Ben's shop. But, Ben, he's a unique guy. There's just so many people that gravitate to him. And when you think golf equipment or anything, you always think, well, I got to go talk to Ben. Or what does Ben think? And I'm amazed how he can keep up. I mean, he's pulled in so many directions. And I've told him as a friend, like, there's just too much for you to handle yourself. Like, how do you find time to separate work from, the time with the family and all that? And he does that, and he will, the time he closes, that shop's closed. But in that window, like, he's just in the zone. Like, it's just,
he's go. He is go. Him and Alex. Have you had a chance to go to the new shop there at San Pedro?
I've been there 2 to 3 times now, but I don't spend a lot of time there. I just go and talk shop a little bit with him. I had a couple of equipment pieces that I took to him, but it's a beautiful shop. I think he's just still getting used to having that much space. And the footprint's so much bigger. it tell me he's going to get in more steps because he's got to take 8 extra steps just to get to the epoxy over there, and where the grip station is and all that.
Yeah. Oh, so you would vouch for him as being probably the best repair guy or best golf fitter per se here in town.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy I send everybody to. I know that if Ben tells him I sent them, he's gonna know that this is something I want to take care of, number one. And that's the kind of relationship I want with anyone I send someone to. If I'm sending them there, there's a reason. And Ben, I wouldn't have Ben's back if I didn't believe in what he's doing. I think I'm amazed at how he can keep up. And he does phenomenal work. And if it's something's not right, he's gonna make it right. And yeah,
I totally agree with that. He does top notch work, and he's a straight shooter. He's not gonna BS you. And some people want to be BS'd. Hey, they want to be oiled and sweetened up, and he ain't gonna do that. He's gonna tell you exactly what you need to hear. And it's really funny kind of going over there, and now it's trouble for me because before, when he was located at the first tee, he was a little bit away from my work, and so it was a nice little change of pace to go out there. And now he's just down the street. I mean, he's like a mile down the street from me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is trouble. This is trouble for me. But I like it. I kind of like seeing it because now you kind of see him a little bit out of his element as he's there the first couple of days, and he's just it's a little bit different, yeah. And so it's funny because before, like when you're going to try something out, or hey, go ahead and you grab a bucket of balls, right? And now it's funny because he gives the people a little yellow bag with 5 golf balls in it.
Oh wow!
And he goes,
I haven't seen that yet, but
yeah, I've seen it numerous times, and I'm just like my cheeks are hurting from just like smiling so much right now because I saw him give somebody a bag like of 5 golf balls, and he's like, if you want more, they sell them right there inside.
Oh, wow.
and I'm like, I'm like, got him. Got him. All right. So favorite player on tour, favorite PGA player?
I mean, I've always been a Tiger fan. I mean,
outside of Tiger, because that's not fair. That's not fair to a lot of us outside of Tiger.
Honestly, I don't really have a favorite outside of Tiger. Like it's hard for me to say. I don't want to just throw a name out there just because. But really, it's not like if I went to the Texas Open to watch golf, like, oh, I got to go see Rory, or I got to go see, this person or that person. I think if I was to find a player that I really want to watch, it'd be like an old school guy, like a Lee Trevino or a Palmer, like back in their prime. I think that's, when it was a little more artistry when you golf versus it's so technical now, and the TrackMan, the whole tech piece. I think when golf was so simplified, I think that would kind of be my pick, would be like an old school kind of player.
Would you like, one of the things within the tour, would you like to see them do, say, a Hickory style tournament?
I that would probably never happen other than like an entertainment piece. But yeah, I think that would be cool. I think I'm old enough to have played with persimmon woods. Like my first set was woods. They were old persimmons.
Same here. They were Chichi Rodriguez. Mine were Chichi Rodriguez.
Yeah, I remember I cracked the head on it. I remember that old driver with the whipping on the right up the shaft there. But I think that would be super cool, like playing with old school golf balls and hickory stick shafts. Yeah, that would be a sight to see. I mean, that would get a lot of traction there if that happened.
Okay. One of the last questions here. What's a course in this South Texas, or say Houston, Austin, down all the way to maybe the Valley, course that you haven't played that you would like to play?
Is it Lochinvar? Is that a course in Houston?
I think so.
Yeah. So my cousin's actually on the agronomy team there. He's really amazing what they do there, and he's always posting pictures of it. After they, just cut the grass, or it's a perfect sunset or a perfect sunrise. And I've talked to a couple of people that had the privilege to play that course, and it's just completely immaculate. Like, so I think that would be one on my radar. But I really don't know too much about it, other than I think I need to make a trip this summer up with my cousin and play that, because that's a super exclusive golf club.
That's one thing, because every year how golfers have their certain goals, and for me in the podcast, I have like two different goals. I have golfer Andy, and then I have podcast Andy. And so one of the things is that to knock off courses here in town, because my goal is to play all of the courses here in the surrounding greater San Antonio area. And I'm slowly doing that. I played Briggs Ranch, I'd say about 3 weeks ago, and it was nice. I mean, it was long. It was really long. I was hitting driver 3-wood, driver hybrid, driver 3-wood, and I said, you know what? I told myself and telling my buddies that I was playing with, I said, I don't think I've ever used my 3-wood that much in a round. That much in a round. I mean, I'm like this. Is this a par 4 or 5? And someone's like, it's a 4, and I'm like, shoot. I'm like, damn. It's just it's tough. It's tough, but you know what? I think it really helped me that day, because my 3-wood was on. It was accurate. Now, moving forward right here, the last thing. What is on the menu for On Par Golf in 2021?
I think a big piece is going to be some focus on Cedar Creek. That's going to be a huge springboard for us. Expect a lot of great things in the future with that, with rolling out some programming for the adults, a huge marketing campaign that we're going to work on putting together to get the word out to the community, to the area, that there's a great opportunity with the entire staff there. And with the relationship we built with the trail, I'm hoping that things will continue to grow. There's a lot of golf courses within the trail, so a bigger reach long term is definitely something that I'd hope would be in our future, but only time will tell. The only thing that with that piece that kind of I'm going to be cautious with is as we grow, that pushes me away from the instructional piece a little bit, where I'm more of an owner, more of a management piece of the puzzle. So it's a little tough to kind of figure out how fast I want to move out of that, because I really enjoy it all. And I'm trying to find a way to do it all, but at some point it's going to be a little bit too much. But growth is definitely a big piece. Staff development, I think we got some great pieces, and if we can find ways to get those staff even stronger, I mean, it just bodes well for everybody together. I think of it as education, right? You as a teacher, you go to continuing education every summer for 2 weeks to try and get better. I think my goal from my end as a management push or ownership push is I want to get better. I mean, if we stay the same or stagnant, we're losing ground. We always need to be continuing to move forward and push ourselves to be better and stronger and work more cohesively. And as we grow, we're going to bring on more people when the timing's right. And there's a great opportunity. And like I told you from the beginning, we're just trying to create the platform that one day that, if they think I need a golf lesson, there's no doubt where they're going to go.
Well, you're doing that, Ray. You're doing that for the Southside, and now I'm very happy that you're on the Northside. And I got right here, Daniel Trejo. Always forward, baby, right? Always forward.
Yeah, always forward. I'm never looking back. I think, it's always good to look back a little bit, to see where you've come, to, see where you're going. But I think, we're going to keep pounding the rock, like Popovich says, and just keep moving forward and see where it goes. If we do right by our clients, and people see that, that word of mouth is absolutely priceless, and that's the things and the respect you can't buy. And I think, our clients especially trust in us, that they're going to get treated like they want to be treated. And I think too, you think of instruction, and I might not have my A game as an instructor, but man, I'm going to walk out there and feel like, that guy cared about me. That guy tried to make sure that he did everything in his power to make him better. Maybe we didn't make the progress some days that we want to make, but they're going to come back just because, they know that what they came for may have not fruited like they expected or I expected, because it's just like in anything, it doesn't always work, like you snap your fingers and it happens. I always tell my clients, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It doesn't happen, in one lesson. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it just takes a little longer. But keep pounding the rock, keep moving forward, and just getting stronger and stronger, and building the reputation and the legacy that I want for myself and for my businesses.
All right. The final thing, I want to see On Par Golf event back on again. I want to see it back on again at Riverside. I'm looking forward. Is that, and I know COVID put a damper on a lot of outings, but is that in the works to come back?
We talked about that. We're going to have our second annual, and then COVID got in the way, and we've talked a little bit about it, but we haven't set a hard date to it. I don't want to do it in the summer. It was just so hot. I want to try and figure out, maybe do it in the fall, and catch a nice window where it's, we're not going to be in 102-degree weather, because I really think if we did it, it's going to be even bigger, and we'll have more pieces of that, more people coming, more to offer. So I would say, if I had to forecast something like that, I would say in the fall or early spring next year. We're just so jam packed right now with we have a summer camp all week, every week of the summer, pretty much. We'll have 8 total that's on the calendar. And if we keep filling up like we are at Cedar, and as we're filling up at Mission, we may add some more dates, or just add an afternoon wave to those same dates at the locations. That's extremely important to make sure at Cedar that we give them what they want. And I don't want to. I'd hate to turn people away, but we're going to have to figure out a way to navigate that. But the bash that was so much fun. My kids love that, and my daughter actually made a hole-in-one.
I know. I hate that. I'm so jealous of her. I said, shoot, man. I said, even Ray's daughter got a hole-in-one before I did. I was like, dang it, man. I was like, can you adopt me so I could learn how to get a hole-in-one? Ray, will you please? All right.
Yeah, she never lets that go. Like my first tournament, Dad, I made a hole-in-one.
Hey,
what did you do?
Mic drop, right? Mic drop.
Yeah, I'm out.
Right here. Well, Gordon West says early spring would be dope. Yeah, I think so too. And thinking about the weather, I think that's a great time. Now, I thank you, Ray, so much for being on the show tonight. I know you have a busy schedule. I know, you got a family, you have a business to run. I really thank you for your time. If anybody wants to reach out to Ray Garza out at On Par Golf right here, let me go ahead and put that website back on right here. You can reach him at www.onpargolf.net for any instructions, clinics, and the summer camp schedule. Now, Ray, did you have any questions for me?
I got a good one. So I don't know if you talk too much about it, but I'd love to hear a Ben story that comes from you.
Damn. Okay. Well, it's always walking in, right? Because there's always some sort of shenanigans going on, right? I don't know how much shenanigans he's going to be able to have at San Pedro. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Well, a couple things go to mind is that as I walk into his shop, his old shop right there off of Mulberry, he's got like this little thing where it's got like race horses, right? He's got these race horses. and it's like, I think it's like 7 or 8, you know, it's like, it's a horse race, kind of like at Belmont or like
Yeah,
the
his
Preakness.
ponies.
Yeah, the ponies, right? And he's like, hey, do you want to get in? Hey, it's $1 a race. And there's other guys gathered around it. And I'm just like, and this is when I'm kind of like, you know, he doesn't know me too well. And I'm just like, okay, I'm in, right? I get in, and my pony doesn't even get out the damn gate, right? And I'm just like,
he rigged it.
And so somebody else, I think some old guy took it, right? And I said, hey, I'm in. And so for the next few times as I got in there, I just, hey, what's up with the ponies? Hey, what's up with the ponies, man? What's up with the ponies? And I like how he always has a joke for you. Like he always has a joke to break the ice, and it just, it's so funny watching people go into his shop, and you know, they're scared, they're nervous, especially those first timers, and man, he can break them down. He really can break them down and really get them to drop their guard and to kind of ease off, and I think that's what's made him really successful, because I wish, don't you wish your business was like his, like to where he's having to turn people away and lock the door as people are walking in? I mean, he's a great guy, and I really value, because I think only being a good businessman, he's a really good friend. And it seems like, you know, like you stated earlier, he's got his heart and his mind, and he's managed this thing so well, because I heard him telling me the other day about his son, that he says, I really don't want my son to be a golfer. I do not want him to be a golfer, because, you know, it's just, it's too much, and I want him to do his own thing. And that was nice to hear, because the same thing goes for my daughter. I want her to do her own thing. I want my girls to do their own thing, so they can have their own things. And the last thing about Ben is that I went in, and this was after hours. I saw that him and Alex's vehicles were still there. And I go in, and I see Alex's little eyes pop open through, you know, like a little crack in the window. And he goes, all right, who is it? I hear him whisper, who is it? That's Andy. Okay, let him in. Right. So I go in, and I don't know if I'm breaking any code or rule here, is that him and Alex are playing ping pong, but with no net. The object of the game is if one guy can hit the other guy with the ping pong ball. And they're playing for like 20 a game. Right. Yeah, and they're looking at me like I'm fresh meat. Hey, you want in? Yeah. He always say, you know, Ben, hey, you want in? You want in? And I'm just like, no, I don't want in.
I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, I just want to see what was going on after hours. Well, thanks again, Ray. I appreciate it so much, man. I wish you nothing but the best and continued success. And next time we speak, I want to continually hear about On Par Golf growing and doubling your business and doubling your outreach. Thank you so much for what you do for the youth and for the adults and for people in the game of golf here in the city of San Antonio.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks. I appreciate you having me. Keep up the great work with your podcast. I watch it as much as I can. And I spread the word for you as best I can as well.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
Ray Garza is such a good guy in the golf game. And if you are scared, if you're worried, if you're nervous, please go see him at Mission del Lago on the south side, or here on the north side at Cedar Creek Golf Course, right there off of Kyle Seal in 1604. He's built a great staff. He won't do you wrong. I'm thankful to have Michael A. Aguirre with Capital Strategies and Mass Mutual Firm as a sponsor of the show. Like my passion for golf, Mike has a passion for helping others, especially in the financial department. Please allow him to give you a free financial analysis and help give you and your family a better fiscal outlook. I trust Mike with my finances. Please trust him with yours. There's several ways you can hit him up. On his cell phone at 210-413-2522 or on his website at www.michael-aguirre.com. That's Michael A. Aguirre, financial advisor with Capital Strategies. Mike will not do you wrong. Thank you for your sponsorship, Mike. I truly appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please visit my website, www.NothingisOB.com. You can hit me up on different forms of social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. NothingisOB is my handle. Also, please check out my YouTube channel, NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. Please click the subscribe button you can leave a comment, rate, and review. It's how it helps me grow the podcast. I truly thank you for all your support. Remember, in the game of life, nothing is OB.